What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be finally talking about Andor Season 2. Now, we are over 6 months removed from Andor Season 2 at this point. I think it finished airing in May, I believe. And so it has been a hot minute. There was a lot of life stuff going on last year, unfortunately. And fortunately, it wasn't all bad. But I kind of stopped making videos for quite a while, for basically the second half of last year. And so I never really got to talk about this show, even though it was one of the last things that I watched before everything, sort of happened. And so I'm just happy to be able to finally talk about this show. I don't even really know where to begin with Andor Season 2 because everything is just so great. I can't talk about this show enough and about this season in particular. And so just trying to find a starting point is hard enough. I guess let me just start out by saying I did enjoy Season 2 more than Season 1, and I loved Season 1, but I think Season 2's highs just peak a little bit higher than Season 1's highs. But I think Season 1 had some great highs, especially in that final few episodes on Ferrix when everything went down at the end of the season. That was peak Star Wars, and so getting moments like that in Andor Season 2, multiple, I would say, where it just peaks just as high is insane. At this point, I can't really remember what my expectations for Season 2 were. I just remember expecting Season 2 to be great because Season 1 was great. But just to have such a masterpiece come out is still mind-blowing. I think that Season 2 of Andor has to be the best season of a Star Wars show, point blank, period. And I know people are gonna say that I'm overreacting, that, Clone Wars has great seasons, The Mandalorian has great seasons, Rebels has great seasons, etc. I don't care. I love all of those things too. I love some of the Mandalorian seasons, some of the Clone Wars seasons, some of the Rebel seasons. Those are top seasons in Star Wars shows. I think Andor Season 2, oh my goodness, my voice just almost went out. I think Andor Season 2 surpasses them all. For only having 12 episodes, I think a lot was accomplished in this season. For example, Mon Mothma was never a character that I was particularly in love with. I do, of course, have a nostalgic tie to her because she is an original trilogy character, and she's also spotted elsewhere from time to time, like in Clone Wars and in Rebels, but that character was not one that I was overly fond of compared to all of the Star Wars characters in the universe. But I think Season 2 of Andor really made her go from a good character to a great character. She has a great story, one that I'm glad we got to see on screen, one that I'm glad that Genevieve O'Reilly got to portray. That's something I love in and of itself to attribute to the show as a whole, was that they brought her back. But I think that Mon Mothma's story is really good, and everything going on around her with the other characters that are introduced in Andor, everything is just so entertaining and so believable. I really love that this season, like the first, did not shy away from darker topics and darker themes. That's something that I love about the show itself, but I think that Season 2 even went further with it. And so I really appreciate those moments and those pieces of the story that are clearly dark and mature themed, but we can fit them into the Star Wars universe. It's believable, and it's another side that we don't really get to see in other projects. Honestly, everything that pertains to Andor Season 2 that I can think of is a positive for me. The costuming was great, set design was great, CG was great, and locations were great, and props were great. Performances were great. Everything was great. I think that it's a real testament to a show, and just to this season in particular, since we're talking about Season 2, that not only can your main actors, your primary performers, pull off such believable and heart-wrenching and beautiful performances, but even the people that are just day players, people who are, around for an episode, maybe just even one scene, are so believable in the Star Wars universe, you don't even think twice. That's just that character. You're not thinking about this being a performance at all. You're just immersed. This might be the most controversial thing I have to say about Andor Season 2, but I'm going to say it anyway. Star Wars can make you feel all sorts of emotions. Star Wars can make you happy, can make you sad, can make you mad, Star Wars has so many beautiful moments, wondrous moments, heart-wrenching moments. But I think that by far, in my opinion, the most tragic and the most heart-wrenching and the most beautiful story ever put into a Star Wars project is the fall of Gorman, the tragedy of Gorman in Andor Season 2. And I really don't think it's all that close, honestly. I know a lot of people will say the fall of Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. I think that everything that happened with Gorman in Andor Season 2 was so well done that it just by default is there in that spot. I can't think of anything else in all of Star Wars that has pulled at my heartstrings quite like it. And if we're talking about what's close to that, it might be content from Andor Season 1. I really enjoyed all the character progressions that we got in this season from Season 1 to Season 2. I like the addition of the new characters. I like the direction that the story went in. For all the praise it's received, and it has received its flowers, I think that Season 2 deserves it. I don't think any of it's unwarranted. And there is a group of people who will say Season 2 of Andor isn't that great. It's the same thing that they said about Season 1. I just don't understand it. I'll never understand it. You can take something that's not just a good Star Wars project, it's objectively a great Star Wars project and objectively a great show in general, and just, I don't know, ignore it. I don't understand. I don't understand the thought process. I think the worst thing about Andor Season 2 is that it's the last season. I don't have any real criticisms of the show or the season. I don't have any real critiques. Everything is just so beautifully done, from, the main story to the smallest detail. I really enjoy the way that the story wraps up in the last few episodes of the season, because as we know as the audience, we're going into Rogue One. Cassian will be in Rogue One. Some of these characters we will see again in Rogue One. Many of them we won't. And so I'm glad we've got satisfactory endings to everyone's character from a story aspect. Obviously not everyone's fate, not everyone's story ends the way we would have liked, for characters that we like who don't get a happy ending, or characters that we don't like who do continue on, who don't get their comeuppance in this show. I really like that we got to wrap all these stories into a nice little bow, though, in the sense that there's not really many loose ends, because we know where these characters end up. Maybe we don't know the full scope of their story after this show ends, but we do get some finality on where they stand, at the very least. I could go on and on talking about Andor, but I fear that that's going to bleed into me talking about the show as a whole. I've already sort of done it a couple of times, so I'm just gonna cut myself off there, because that's all I've got to say specifically pertaining to Season 2 off the top of my head. I will be coming out with the review of Andor, the show as a whole, where I can delve into some of these things that are about the entirety of the story, and so be on the lookout for that eventually if you want to. But yeah, that's all I've really got to say for now. If you want to help me out here on YouTube, liking this video, commenting on this video, subscribing to the channel, checking out some of my other videos, all those things help me grow the YouTube channel. If you want to follow me elsewhere, I'm on Twitch and I'm on Instagram. Those are linked in the comments, not the comments, the description of this video. And so yeah, if you want to check me out elsewhere, I will be there. But what did you think of Season 2 of Andor? Did it live up to Season 1 for you? Did you enjoy this season? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, bye.